And now, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you a bit about the birds and the bees, Mr. Benny Hill.
I reached the age of 14 and I hadn't started courting, and my mom was getting worried about me. She said, "Dad, it's time you told him about the birds and bees." He says, "The birds and bees," and he sat me on his knee. He said, "Remember Uncle Joe at that picnic a while ago? How he went off in the woods with Auntie Pat? And how I chased O'Reilly's daughter and what happened when I caught her?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, birds and bees does that." Dad works hard indeed. Well, he's got 10 kids to feed. Well, 10 and 7/9 to be precise. And we all wear hand-me-downs. And as I am the youngest and the others are all girls, it ain't very nice. He says, "My son, it's time you were wed." I said, "I'd rather drop down dead." He said, "Well, what about old Maud from Ikeley Down?" I said, "Maud, not bloody likely. She's been with half the chaps in Ikeley." He said, "Well, Ikeley's really quite a little town." He said, "Son, you've got to find a wife. You can't go on enjoying life. Folks will think you're strange and start to frown." I said, "Look, why should I go buy a book when there's a thriving London library in the town?" One day I found a friend. I was out by Badger's End. A little pigeon fell down by my feet. His wings was flecked with red, and I thought that he was dead, and I knelt down and I felt his little heart still beat. I cupped him in my hand and I took him to me ma'am, and she said, "My son, I'm as proud of you as I can be. You're thoughtful and you're kind and you got a gentle mind, and that'll do a treat for your old father's tea." I said, "You shall not touch my bird." And without another word, I went up to my room and shut the door. And I bathed him and I warmed him and I nursed him back to health, because you see, I never really had a friend before. And I taught him little tricks like playing dead and picking up sticks. And all the village girls, they brought birdseed every day. "Dad, you can't come in," I'd shout, "or my birdie will fly out." But I let all the village girls stay. There was Mabel from the stable. There was Mary from the dairy. We had a visit from our beauty queen. And that great big Betty Mavery. Well, she got her own Avery. Well, she's got the biggest parakeets I'd ever seen. Dad said, "You ought to let them go." And Mom said, "Oh, no, you just want to get some shooting practice in." And the vicar said, "My son, it really isn't done. And to lock up a wild thing, well, that's a sin." And one morning, it was all still. I took him up by Badger's Hill. I lost the only friend I had that day. Not a word I said. I just kissed his little head, and I opened my hands, and I watched him fly away. And he circled up and round and settled on the ground. Then he took straight off to the sky, and I looked, and I could see he was flying back at me. And then he swooped, and then he pooped right in my eye. I thought, that's bloody rude. Cool, that's gratitude. I hope they never cross a pigeon with a cow. Dad said, "Oh, there's a caper. I'll go get a bit of paper." I said, "Don't be daft. He's miles away by now." Dad said, "I know you lost a friend, but it's really not the end. Someday you'll be married with a family of your own quite soon." Well, I didn't say a word. But you see, that little bird lured 18 little ravers up to my room. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jolly nice. So if any of you got a bird you don't want, there's a table with a pretty bird I could put to some use. Is that right? Or maybe just an old crow, eh? An old crow. I'm sorry. No, my apologies, sir. No, it's not. I'm not. Look, it's just that I took one look at you and I figured you could spare a cockatoo. Yeah.
Benny Hill, everybody! Let's hear it for Mr. Benny Hill.